In this mini tutorial, we're going to build from scratch a computational tool that takes an image and adds color tinting to it. Along the way, we'll learn a little bit about images and how to work with them in Python. An image is really an array of numbers. Each number in the array represents the color and combination of colors at that location in the image. An image, the standard file format splits it into three channels, the red, green, and blue channel. So it's three two-dimensional arrays that overlay over each other spatially. When we load the image, we'll see that we see the three channels and the numbers representing that a particular area is colored in. Remember that when we want to show an image in Jupyter Notebook, we should use the matplotlib inline command. And since this image is an array, we can multiply it. If we multiply it by a tuple of three numbers, we can choose to highlight or combine the different channels in different ways. In this example, we've chosen to exclude the last channel, the blue channel, and just show the red and the green channel. So now when we show that channel, we see that by excluding the blue channel, we end up with a yellow tint. And changing these numbers will result in different tints by combining the colors in the image in different ways. Now that we've finished making the meat of our computational web app, we can define the arguments of our tool in the first code cell. So the way our open source framework works is that it pays attention to the last one or two words in the variable name. So since we said source image path is equal to the file name, our web app will know to ask for an image when it runs. So now, in order to convert this into a tool, we're going to click the green button. But first, we also want to render the result. So in order to render the result, we currently you output to standard output in the file in the format of x is equal to some value, where x is oh, and another thing is that if you want to save files, you want to save them to a target folder. But getting back to it, if we want to output a result, such as an image in this case, then we use the format target image path is equal to something. And since we said something image path, our tool will know to render an image at that location. So we'll just check that everything works, and we click the green button. Note that in order to prevent differentiate between a computational blog or a computational tool, we do have the requirement to specify in the first code cell that this is a cross-compute tool by adding a comment called cross-compute in it. So now we have our tool preview. We can upload an image and choose different variables for the tuple that will multiply the matrix by. So we have our little web app. We can further customize this web app by creating a markdown interface both at the top and the bottom. So at the top, if you create a markdown interface, it will customize the way the initial form is shown. And if at the bottom you add a markdown interface, it'll customize the way the result is shown. You don't have to specify each argument, but if you do, you can choose to first you specify the variable, the label that you'll put there, and after the question mark is the mouse over hint. So now you see that we updated the label and also added a little mouse over hint. And now we're going to add a markdown rendering for the result. So all these are it's a open source package, cross-compute notebook extensions that's available on PyPy, and right now we're using the running it all on crosscompute.com. So now when we run it, we see that there's an error, and that's because we forgot to change this into a markdown cell. But now that we've changed it into a markdown cell, it should work fine. So that concludes our mini tutorial, and see you next time.